Hello, I'm Neil and I'm going to tell you about using ASIO4ALL in combination with Cromble. Now, if you're a Mac or an iPad user, then you're watching the wrong video because ASIO4ALL only works in Windows. Here we have our preferences dialog, which you've used before, and you see we've chosen device type ASIO and we've chosen as our input device and our output device ASIO4ALL. Now you'll see we have a couple of options for the channels. At the moment we only have the one channel. And I do have a couple of devices connected, so we're going to look at the device control panel. Now, ASIO devices often have a device control panel, and when you do have one, then you can click this button to call it up. And here we see the ASIO4ALL device control panel, which is showing us three types of devices. We have a Behringer USB, we have a Behringer USB, that's a little mixer I have attached. We have the VMware, that's the local microphone and speakers, and we have a Samsung, that's a microphone. This buffer size you see down there, you can ignore that because the Cromble app overrides this. Now, let's go back here, and what we see is we only have the one choice, only the VMware channels. So if we look at the ASIO4ALL control panel, you see this little thing is lit up only for VMware. It's not lit up for the Behringer. It's not lit up for the Samsung. So let's go into the advanced options, and that's entered by hitting this little wrench. There you go. And we'll see we have a Behringer device with an input and output, a VMware device with an input and output, and a Samsung device that doesn't seem to be available. And you notice this little sign. It means that ASIO4ALL for some reason can't manage this device, and there's a good reason for this. It's because I've attached it slightly differently to this computer. It's not going to work, but that's useful to know. This means it's not working. Now let's go back to our VMware device and let's just choose that, and you'll see we have here latency compensation. Now actually ASIO4ALL adds a bit of latency to make sure things come out right, but we don't want this for Cromble. We want as little latency as possible. So you should set this latency down to 0. The other thing you'll see is on some devices, depending upon your driver, you'll have this hardware buffer option. Now it's currently off. Usually, if you turn it on, you get lower latency and better quality. But try it. Sometimes when you turn it on, it doesn't work at all or reduces sound quality. But if it does work, the other thing you want to do is put the buffer offset down to 0 again, so you have minimum latency. So we've set up our VMware device and we can happily use it, and then we can leave the ASIO control panel and carry on further. The second point to notice is I do have other devices attached. The Samsung microphone is not going to work, but I still have that Behringer mixer. So let's see if we can find out what's happening here. And we see this Behringer mixer, this little light is turned off. So perhaps for some reason it's not connected. We'll try that, click on it, and yes, it's now connected. So let's go back and see if we now have them available. So we can choose the Behringer device or go back to our standard. By the way, one nice little feature of ASIO4ALL is that if you're using normal ASIO devices, you can't, with a normal ASIO driver, you can't actually combine devices. But ASIO4ALL will allow you to combine devices in this way. Now going back to the device control panel, as I say, we can't use the Samsung because there is some problem with it. Sometimes you'll see a little cross, a little red cross here, and that's slightly different. That means that ASIO4ALL cannot access the device because some other program is using it. Now that's something you can check out, see which other programs are running, and try and fix the problem. One more little thing to note about ASIO4ALL, this is version 2.1. If you're using Windows 8, sometimes this might not work. You might get devices you cannot select. In that case, what you need to do is you need to go to the ASIO4ALL site and download the latest version, which does support Windows 8, but which we don't include because it's a beta version. Well, that's all you need to know about ASIO4ALL, and have fun using the program.